Hey Gemini, I'm Eleanor and welcome to Peaches by Starlight Tarot. This is your first week of March pick a card reading, although anytime you're drawn to it, the energy is fluid and it's probably something here for you to hear. It may not resonate with everyone and that's alright. It's a general reading, but that's why I do private ones, and my Etsy page is below. If you can check that out and get a email reading is the word I was looking for. But if it does resonate or you hear something that is going to serve you on your path, please hit that like button. And if you hear something that someone you know would benefit from, please share it with them. Comment below if you have any questions or want to talk more about something that I just mentioned, or you want to ask any kind of question. I will engage in the comments. That's fun. And then also please subscribe if you want to keep up with my weekly readings that come out every week plus a monthly one. So this week we're talking about your monthly energy of the Three of Swords combined with family harmony, your weekly energy. And these came out in readings that I have linked below, your monthly and your annual, so you can see where I talk more about these and how they link up. So this is going to be talking about, though, in general, it's about going back to your family of origin and figuring out some things that need to be repaired there. So I'm using Past Life Oracle, which you don't have to believe it. It's more about your past in this life. And the Vintage Swiss Tarot. I have stack 1, stack 2, and stack 3. You don't have to just pick one if you like. You can pick 2 or more. And they're timestamped below, so you can skip right to your message. So stack 1, you have Ace of Swords, 2 of Pentacles, and phobias. So this Ace of Swords tells me that you are getting some kind of clarity finally on something that has been like just enough. It seems like you've been like in a state of not being able to get ahead. There's enough, but there's never anything extra. And there's just like being on a treadmill. I'm really getting treadmill energy from this. And so this is going to be about how are you expending too much, whether it's energy or money, in an area that you wouldn't necessarily have to, or that other people don't. For example, I'm just going to use this because I can connect to it personally, and it's only an example, for instance, and you can probably apply this to anything. But the type, when you're spending a lot of money, like a lot of time in the gym, a lot of money on very healthy food, or a lot of money on diet pills, or like where are you expending an inordinate amount of resources because of maybe the phobia is about your body shape and having it to be just a certain way. Or could you be spending too much on gas money because there's a certain route, like you want to avoid bridges or something, and so you go the long way. There's some way that you're hemorrhaging and leaking, whether it's energy or money or something, you're putting forth too much and it's keeping you from getting ahead. You could save that and put it towards something more productive, towards moving forward. But there's some kind of, it's about this phobia. It's what are you afraid of, that you are spending too much of what you have to avoid it, to skirt it, to circumvent it. And if you could tackle it, get to the root of it and figure it out, how could you take those resources, that energy, and that time back from that so that you can move forward? And it's not about exposure therapy. I wouldn't recommend that without a professional, but it is just something, at least at this time, during this week, to think about and to ask yourself those questions. Stack 2, reverse 7 of Wands, 9 of Swords, Monk or Nun. So I'm feeling you being like other people's wills and opinions and values being imposed on you, that you are kind of being steamrolled by certain messaging that you received. And it has to do with selflessness and who you put first, and being taught that you don't go first ever, and that if you put yourself first, then you're being selfish, and that it is right and good that you put others before you at all times. And so I'm feeling, though, with this Nine of Swords, that you have done so, you've learned how to be a good girl or whatever. So there's some overwhelm happening with that you have not set those boundaries, that you have said yes to other people first, and you haven't been able to put yourself first, and you're starting to feel the overwhelm and the anxiety of that and the worry of that. How can I make everyone happy? There's just not enough of me to go around anymore. And so what they're wanting you to look at, though, is can you heal that? Can you learn that that isn't true, and learn that self-care, at the end of the day, it's a circular thing where if you've taken care of yourself first, you can take care of others better than if you put them first. You can even think of, if you absolutely have to be that selfless, then your self-care is for others ultimately. And there's also a sense of here of like not being able to do something just for the joy of it, that everything has to be a hustle. It's like, if that's not making you money, then you don't get to prioritize it. And it's like, why are you doing that instead of spending time with me? And it's like, if you say, well, because I need to make this money, it's like, oh yeah, that's all right. But if you're like, well, because I want to, well, then all of a sudden you're a jerk. And it's like, how can you overcome that kind of thinking? Stack 3, you have Death, the Lovers, Asia. So this can go with Death. We have a big transition and a change. And I feel like this Asia, for the several people that are probably listening, the Asia can be on the first side of the change or it could be on the other side of the change. So there's probably a small group of you that maybe have had a very traditional family, and there's a sense here of it becoming oppressive and you wanting to shed it, like, not shed it, but like, I know, right, from what I hear of a snake, that when it's time to shed its skin, it becomes tight and constricted. There's a sense of being constricted and wanting to move past that and to seek a path that is more in alignment with your values. And that might be what you're going through at this time. The opposite side of this is to look east. I'm hearing that you to look east for a new way of thinking and a new philosophy. And how can you, without appropriating, the thing about the Lovers is it's a new path, it's a new alignment, it's a new union of values, but it is not codependent. It doesn't take. So how can you adopt and align with a mindset, whether you're looking at the Eastern teachings of India or Buddhism, which reminds me, Taurus is reading, their weekly card is a Dalai Lama card, and there might be something there for you if you go look at the Taurus reading. My Venus is in Taurus. Like, I'm a Gemini, so this reading would be my sun sign, but my Venus is in Taurus, so I might go back and look at that because that would relate to my love life. So if you get your full chart and find out what planet is in Taurus, there may be some information for you there. But whether it's meditation, whether it's a certain type of yoga, there's something in the East that has information for you that will help you move onto a new path and learn new things. And how can you, not just because you want to buy the gear or look a certain way or adopt an identity because you think it will make it look cool, but how can you actually learn what they're saying and apply that into your life and have a more peaceful, aligned existence? All right, so that's what I have for you this week, Gemini. Talk to you soon. Thank you.